Greetings everyone. Today we're going to have a tutorial about how to use Scratch. If you haven't discovered this, Scratch is a educational software created by the MIT Media Lab. So you can go to scratch.mit.edu and this is what the website looks like, and you are able to download from there a desktop version in addition to being able to use an online version. So I'm going to assume you can do that already. So what we're going to do is we're going to study a problem that is actually interesting mathematically called the chase problem. So imagine that you have four animals, and this could be any other situation where it could be a boat and a car, etc. So four animals in this case, each of them is chasing the other. So the cat is chasing the mouse, mouse chasing the elephant, elephant chasing the dog, dog chasing the cat, etc. And the question is, if you could trace the path of these, what kind of a curve would you create? So let's just see that first. As you can see, the animals leave some kind of a mark as they wander around and chasing. And as we move the animals around and see the curve that they have created, they've created this beautiful pattern called the chase pattern. So we're going to learn how to do these type of things in Scratch. It will also give us a nice context in which to learn some programming. So I recommend you create a new, let's create a new file. And it will come with a default sprite. It's called Sprite, but it's basically a cat, and I'm gonna actually name it a cat. So the way, by the way, you name your objects, when you click on an object that is a character in your game, you can go to the information tool here, and instead of calling it a sprite, I will call it a cat so I remember what it is. Okay. You could also make your animals and characters smaller by going to the tools here. There's a shrink tool. I don't want my cat to be so big, so I'm going to make it much smaller until I like the shape. Okay, so now I want to create new sprites, new characters for my game. So I go to the first option here. It says choose sprite from library. And when I do that, there are all kinds of pre-created characters in the game. And I'm going to go to the animals, and what I want to do is I want to grab a dog. Okay, that. And the dog will be placed here. Again, I want to make it smaller. So I go to my shrink tool, I make it smaller. And I want to call it dog, just dog, not dog 2, so that I don't get confused. Okay. And now I go to my characters again, animals. I'm going to select an elephant. And let's make the elephant also smaller by using the shrink tool. Okay. Let me also show you something. When you click on the elephant, one of the options there, so scripts, costumes, sounds, etc. You can go to costumes and you could actually decide to color the elephant differently. So I go to the bucket tool, I select, let's say, the green color. That way you could color the elephant differently, and the reason I'm coloring it differently is in a minute I'm gonna trace the path. I don't want this blue to be confused with the blue of the dog. That's the only reason. Okay, so when you like that, you can go back, and now let's go to new sprite, choose from library, the first options here, and then let's grab a mouse. I believe there should be a mouse somewhere here, unless I missed this. Oops, I'm not in the animals option, that's why I couldn't find it. So here's a mouse option. I'm gonna select that. I'm gonna place it at the appropriate place. I'm gonna shrink its size, and what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go to costumes here, and then I'm gonna color this. Let's color it red, so that when it leaves a trace, it is going to leave a trace of red color. Okay, so here it is. Now that our creatures have been created, what we're going to do is we're going to give these some movement capabilities, and the way we're going to do that is, so I'm going to actually create for only one of these creatures a set of instructions, and by duplicating and slightly altering the code, which is very common in computer programming, we'll be able to create behavior for all of the characters. I just realized, by the way, my mouse is called mouse 1. I'm going to change that to just mouse so I don't get confused later. Okay? Alrighty, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just create a behavior, let's say for the dog. I'm going to have the dog move towards the cat when the green flag is pressed, etc. And then we're going to replicate that behavior for the rest of the animals. Okay? So now we're going to talk about the dog. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the events option here, and it says when the green flag is clicked, what I want to do is a bunch of things. First, I want to go to the pen options here. I want to clear any previous drawings that were there. So I'm going to clear things first. Then I'm going to put the pen down so that we can start having some marks created by the dog. And then I'm going to set the pen color to the color of the dog. This is an interesting thing. Watch me do it. I click on this color option here, and then when I hover over the dog, do you notice it's going to capture its color? This was taught to me by my student how to do that. And then I want to change the pen size. I discovered by just trial and error that pen size of 3 seems to be good. Okay, so when I click on that, all of these things are going to happen. And then what I want to do is I want to have a motion, and actually I want this motion to repeat indefinitely. So I'm going to go to the control options here, and I want this to be done forever. So I bring the forever loop here. And what I want is I want the dog to point towards the cat. And observe, this is the genius of MIT Media Lab. They were able to convert difficult programming procedures and protocols into basically a drop and drag interface. Okay, so I want the dog to always reassess where it is, point towards the cat, and then I want it to move. It says by default 10 steps. I want it to actually move 1 step and then reassess, always point towards the cat, etc. Okay, so I'm gonna do that, and let's actually try this. Let's see what happens when I do that. The cat is not moving right now, so the dog, all it's doing is just heading towards the cat. Okay, so I'm gonna go back and leave it there. Often what I realize is you need to clean up the environment from all these drawing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a secret way of cleaning things up without actually changing the animals. So what I do is I say when the space key is pressed, okay, I go to the pen option here. I want things to be cleared. Okay, now you can't see me, but I'm now pressing the space key. Boom, you're going to notice everything is cleared. All right. Okay, now observe this code that we have created here. It's really going to be very similar for all the other animals. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this code. So observe what I'm going to do. Actually, you can't see what I'm doing, but I'm pressing the shift key. When I press the shift key and click on the code, there's a duplicate option. And I'm going to drag that on top of the cat. And when I do that, the cat is now... the code has been copied, but I have to change things. I want the color of the pen to be cat colored, so I'm gonna click on the cat to get the orange. And then obviously I don't want to point towards the cat, I want to now point towards the mouse. Okay, observe now if I press this kind of thing is gonna start happening. Okay, so I'm gonna put these animals back to where they are. Okay, so what we could now do is copy the code with the shift. I'm pressing the shift key and clicking on the code. Duplicate option appeared. Now I'm gonna grab that and I'm gonna drop that on the, let's do it on the mouse next. Okay, when I click on the mouse, by the way, I just realized there were a duplicate created in the cat. Just throw it away out of the window, out of the coding window, it will go away. Now in the mouse option, observe the color has to be the mouse color. I'm clicking on the color of the mouse. Now I want it to point towards the elephant, so that has been successfully replicated. Okay, now with the shift key, I'm clicking on the entire code, duplicate. I'm gonna click on the elephant. Oops. The elephant code has been copied there, but let me just again get rid of the duplicate created in mouse. Okay, now when I go to the elephant's script, elephant's code, I need to change the color here to the elephant color, and then I want it to point towards the dog. Okay, so that way, unless I made a mistake, this is all the code you need, really. It's 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lines of code per animal, and a lot of this is basically copy and paste. Alrighty, so let's see what we get. When I press, the behavior should be as I am hoping. Everything is following what they should be following. And observe, some funny things happen when they coincide. But when you move the animals out of the way, observe some really beautiful curves happen. These are sometimes called chase curves. Alrighty, so this is just an introductory activity for Scratch. I hope you had a good time. There's a whole mathematical theory behind chase patterns. It is actually a non-trivial topic of mathematics to have movement of an object readjusted every instant because it is chasing a moving target. This is not an obvious mathematical thing to study, but observe in Scratch with 8 lines of code per character, you're able to actually create a very beautiful simulation of this. Alrighty, I hope you had a great time. Please explore Scratch and use the amazing website. I hope you enjoyed and have a great time. Take care.